Hello, this is Coach Toro again for volleyballplaystore.com. This is part 6 of my volleyball offensive systems. The reason I put this here is because I have a lot of questions that through emails, and I have to have a place for me to send them to answer all those questions. So what I did is I went ahead and put out the questions that have asked me the most. This is the last two that they have asked me throughout the years. What if 21 teams buy the same system? Let's say you're in a league and all of them, you have 21 teams, and all of them buy the same systems. Will they know what you're doing? They'll know exactly what system you're running, but they will not know which play out of possibly 6,000 plays you are going to run. Okay, now within that you can change your system, modify it in 21 different ways. Now once you modify it, you have to teach it that way. Don't change it into something else until the next year, because then you're gonna make it more complicated. Within those 21 ways, you can also change it in 18 different ways. Okay, so within those 18 ways, you can change it in 8 unique ways. What does this mean? This means that they have a better chance of winning the lottery picking 5 numbers than figuring out your system with 8 numbers. That's if they want to do it. So it's very complicated for anybody to have an advantage. So the last questions they always ask me is like, what if I buy a basic system and they buy a pro system? Would they have an advantage? No. What's going to happen is both of you are going to go to war, and the ammunition is going to be plays. I mean, play after play after play, whatever the 8 type of plays that you want to throw at each other. It's gonna depend on who can dish out more plays, run them more effectively. That's what's gonna happen. When we used to practice this place in Mexico, we would practice our own system against each other. I would call the plays out loud for my team. My captain will call the plays for his team, and even though we knew what they were gonna do, there's one thing that I later found out. This is a fuse play. Each one is a fuse play. What does that mean? That means that you can give it to 3 different people in each one, and because it's a mirror, everything's the other way. So it's very hard. They'll call the play as soon as they bump the first bump. They'll call the play, and that made it impossible for us to know where they're going to hit. So we would just go after each other, play after play after play, and we couldn't believe that even within ourselves, we were basically, destroying ourselves, because we couldn't even. We made a point, they made a point, we made a point, they made a point, we made a point, and we just kept going and going and going. So that's what's going to happen if you buy a system against somebody else who has a system. Now imagine if you go against somebody who does not have the system. Imagine the damage. But the best thing about the system is you're gonna have so much fun running all these plays, learning them, and the most important thing that I want you to remember is, imagine somebody gives you something to figure out, and you're like, oh my god, this is so hard, I don't know what, and then they give you the answer to it, and you're like, oh my god, that is so easy. Well, imagine they give you another puzzle, and now you know how to do it. You're like, oh, this is easy. But everybody else who hasn't been told those secrets are going to be looking at it like if it's impossible to break. Well, every time you run a play, that's what the other team is going to be thinking. So this is basically the last question so far that I have gotten more about my systems before anybody buys them. If you're a club director for your area, you can also buy all 26 systems, one for each team, and we do give discounts and everything. Just visit us at volleyballplays2run.com. And if I have any more questions that people keep asking me, I'll go ahead and post them here as part 7 and so on. Thank you.